Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Loudly, please, loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna. So today we will sing a beautiful song written by Bhaktivinod Thakur. This song is an attempt to offer our respects to the glorious saint, His Divine Grace, Srimad BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. Yesterday we celebrated the appearance day of Srila BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakura, and today we will be glorifying him in our presentation. So he is very worshipable. He's been accepted by Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, as a topmost Vaishnava. He is also the spiritual master of Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. So we'll sing this song in the glorification of Vaishnavas, praying unto Srila BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakura Maharaj to bless us so that we can understand and serve the mission of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, following the teachings of His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. So we can have the PDF. There it is. O he Vaishnava Thakura Dayara Sagara Edase Karuna Kari. O he O he Vaishnava Thakura Dayara Sagara Edase Karuna Kari. O he Vaishnava Thakura Diya podo chhaya shodhoe amaya tomaro charana dhari. Diya podo chhaya shodhoe amaya tomaro charana দিয়া পদ ছায়া শোধ হে আমায় তোমার চরণ ধরি দিয়া পদ ছায়া তো তোমার চরণ ধরে তোমার চরণ ধরে তোমার চরণ अहे वैष्णव ठाकुर दयार सागर ए दासे करुणा करी अहे वैष्णव ठाकुर क्षय बेगदमी क्षय दोष शोधि क्षय गुण देहो दासे क्षय बेगदमी আমি ছায়া বেগদমি ছয়া দোষ শোধি ছয়া গুণ দেহ দাসে क्षय शतसंग देह हे आमारे बसेছি সঙ্গের आशे क्षय शतसंग क्षय शत संग देह हे आमारे बसेছি সঙ্গের आशे क्षय शत संग एकाकी आमारा नाही पाय बल हरि नाम संकीर्तने एकाकी आमारा एकाकी आमारा नाही पाय बल हरि नामे संकीर्तने तुमी कृपा करे श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देहो कृष्ण नाम धने तुमी कृपा करे श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देहो कृष्ण नाम धने So this last paragraph is a sincere appeal, understanding the precarious condition that we are all in. We are so helpless. Practically, we have no resources. Our only hope is to appeal to the mercy of such great Vaishnavas, because they have Krishna and we want Krishna. Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite paro, tomaro shakoti ache. Krishna se, O Vaishnava, ha Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite paro, tomaro shakoti ache. O Thakur, Krishna se tomara, Ami to kangala, Ami to kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, dhai tava pache pache. Ami to kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, Ami Krishna Krishna boli, dhai tava pache pache. Ami Krishna Krishna boli, Ami to kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, dhai tava pache pache. Ahe Vaishnava Thakura, Dayara Sagara, He Dase Karuna Kore. Oh he Vaishnava Thakura, Dayara Thagara, He Dase Karuna Kori. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakura, Dayara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kore. Vaishnava Thakur Srila BhaktiSiddhanta Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Srimad Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Bhakta Brinde ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadate Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So there is this wonderful row of seats available here. Feel free to occupy those seats. Anyone who sits in these seats will also get good prasad. full plate of prasadam. So please feel free. So I'm extremely happy to be here this Sunday afternoon. And I hope that you are happy too, to be here at the temple this Sunday afternoon. And since you are happy and I am happy, that makes the two of us. Therefore now just we have to work out how you are going to be happy with me giving this presentation. Since we've worked that out, let's go further on. About more than 1.5 centuries back, about 160 years from today, 160 years ago, the great land of Bharatvarsha was severely reeling under the pressure of rampant materialism. We can say that materialism has two facets. One is the really bad side of materialism, and the other is the not so bad side of materialism. So this was the dark ages in one sense. Because the reason I say that is, there was so much pressure on society, especially in India, which wasn't defined as India then, because its boundaries were not very clearly established, but what we see today as India, Southeast Asia, was being severely exploited by certain sections of society who had become hand in gloves with the rulers. These rulers were ruling on behalf of the Queen of England. About 3 centuries ago, they had come as traders, and seeing that the land was very susceptible to being looted and exploited, they did that. However, what really impressed them was the tenacity of the faith of the common populace in India. And they realized that because of this tenacious faith that the general population has, faith in God, they came up with this nefarious idea that they would first of all destroy the very fabric of this faith structure that existed and replace it with the kind of faith that they would want to exist. And there was such ruthless application of that over a couple of generations, 100 years since this exploitation began. The land that was rich in abundance suddenly felt the effects of poverty, hunger, fear, in such an atmosphere. The rulers of those times established organized religion. They felt that if they could have an organized way of, rather than an organic, they wanted it controlled. They felt that if there was a controlled way, they could manipulate people's faith, then it would be easy to go ahead with their agenda of exploitation. So the basis of organized religion that was practiced then was to instill doubt, to instill confusion, and there would be such lack of clarity that everyone would feel that they had to fend off for themselves, and therefore they had to be their own makers, they had to be their own gods. Despite their utmost attempts, the rulers found that they could not permeate totally down into the society that existed then. For the common man in India, it was still very natural to accept fate or karma. You see, when people become revengeful, or they feel that they are not getting their rights, it is natural for one to feel that one is being exploited, or it is natural for one to kind of revolt. So they wanted them to become repulsed by their age-old practices and accept this new form of religion, which basically was materialism. But they packaged it as religion of faith. So since they could not really affect the masses so much, one of the reasons was that the population was really huge and they could not reach out to everyone. They decided to influence the leaders, the so-called preceptors of those times, and especially the highly influential but susceptible intellectual class. And how did they do that? By giving them positions in the government. So now arose in India a bureaucracy. And this bureaucracy was given by the rulers of those times the title of also being thinkers, the title of leaders. So now these thinkers, who were already divested of their understanding of dependence on Krishna, on God, these leaders who had been so they had faced so much of exploitation and so much of lacking in their lives, they came up with what they considered, according to their intellectual thought process, what they considered was Vedanta. And thus arose a new concept which had never ever been present in the world, that is called as Advaita Vedanta. So these were the so-called followers of the Vedic principles, but it did not have any place for God. In their philosophy, there was no need or reason to have God in the picture. So there were the intellectual confused class who thought that they were thinkers, who hadn't spent real time researching the original books, the scriptures. They were lazy enough to say that they did not find any texts. Why would they want to do that when they were getting so many benefits from the government? So there was this confused intellectual class, and since the masses still followed preceptors, gurus, so they systematically disseminated charlatan religion amongst so-called gurus. So now these gurus became charlatans. As long as your heart is in the right place, it doesn't matter what kind of prejudiced life you lead, even if it is full of so many actions that completely go against decent human life, doesn't matter. So you can eat whatever you want, you can have any kind of relationship with one another. Still, you are a seer, you are a preceptor. So there was this proliferation of such so-called gurus who had their limited to huge congregations, and on the other hand, there was the confused elite intellectual class. And amongst all of that, the real understanding of the Vedas is totally lost, and it has been lost to such an extent that till today, we have not been able to access a huge proportion of that intelligent or intelligentsia. A huge proportion of that. We have not been able to access it. Some of them has been lost forever. However, in this material world, wherever there is darkness, there is light too. So there were a few, when I mean a few, there were at least a few thousands, but still a meager population of sincere souls, self-realized souls, who were unfazed by all this misinformation and misrepresentation that was going around them. However, many of them were so much absorbed in their own practices that they were not aware that how society by and large was becoming bereft of the only process that could lead them to satisfaction and happiness, that is God consciousness. So about 150 years ago, in such an environment, there was a very powerful thinker, because the caste system was very, very predominant. A person of such high caliber was still had strong prejudices against him, because was born in not so high caste. It wasn't really very low caste also, but not somewhere kayastha, that was a caste. His name was Kedarnath Datta. People would refer to him as Thakur. That was a very respectful title for somebody that they really loved and they would follow to the end of the world. Thakur. He was inspired by the circumstances around him, seeing the circumstances around him, and with a few like-minded friends, inspired to re-establish real Vaishnava precepts, real Vaishnava religion. By his practices, he became so famous and so respected. One of the reasons for people giving him respect was the government of those times highly honored him. In those days, he rose to the position of being the deputy collector and the deputy magistrate. Just as today, there are certain vocations which are considered important right now. In those times, about a century and a half ago, administration and legal affairs, they were the topmost vocations that anyone could have or be in. Being a lawyer or being a bureaucrat. He was both. He was a bureaucrat, therefore a deputy collector, and he was also an advocate, deputy magistrate. There are so many glories about him. Affectionately, he was known and is still known as Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Certain historical references claim, and we accept them, that in 1865 or around that time, mid 1860s, when he was the deputy magistrate and the deputy collector at Jagannath Puri. Today, if you go to Jagannath Puri, it is just a small town. 150 years ago, Jagannath Puri was a state in itself. It had a king, powerful, rich, so much of trade and commerce going on there. Today it's just a small town. Politics has made it like that. Most of the holy places which were flourishing commerce centers about 2 to 3 centuries ago have all become small-time towns in the present era. So Jagannath Puri, very important place, and the British government and the governor of Bengal had appointed him specifically so that he could root out and he could there are so many malpractices going on in and around the temple complex. So they wanted him to root it all out. And they were sure that no one else was qualified enough. And he did that. Within his tenure of 5 to 6 years there, Jagannath Puri was clean. There were absolutely zero malpractices going on by the end of his tenure. That was how efficient he was. If any matter would come to court, and if he was the magistrate for that case, people knew that truth would prevail, and it would be a matter of days when the judgment would be given. He used to practically work like 20 hours a day. So most of the pending cases, thousands and thousands of cases that had been pending for centuries, were all, they were all cleared. The judgment was given. The government was so pleased. Not just pleased, the government was dependent on him. But since independence, the Indian history has been written by certain class of people with vested interest, so we do not find references of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's contributions in the Indian history today, which is very unfortunate. The history of India today is colored by vested interests of so many people. So this is our Gaudiya history, the history that we have been, which has been passed down from generation to generation. So in the mid-60s, 1860s, when he was in Jagannath Puri and he was so busy, he would be approached for spiritual guidance. He had to be in court. He also was somebody that you could approach so that you could resolve small-time matters like public family conflicts and so on and so forth. He was very approachable, so really very tied up. And at the same time, he could feel the need for pushing the movement where Vaishnavism is established in its purity. So he felt he needed more time. And sometimes he would be a little concerned with the lack of time that he was having concerning this, in this regards. So one night, because of his concern and since he was serving Lord Jagannath so much, it is explained that Jagannath appeared in a dream to him. In his complete majesty, Jagannath shining, bright eyes, smiling face. He said, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what are you doing? I did not send you here to this world to manage affairs of this world. I did not send you here to manage the court cases. I want you to establish pure practices of Krishna consciousness. So Thakur Bhaktivinoda very submissively, he folded his hands in front of Jagannath and he said, then why are you keeping me so busy? You have involved me in so many affairs of the state. So Jagannath ji said, well, what can I do? This is how it is. But I want you to do something about the mission for which you were sent, for which you have been sent here. Do something about it. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, well, if you send me an assistant, somebody from your own personal retinue, your parshad, your own man, if you send me that person, that would be very helpful. So Jagannath ji smiled as if saying, why didn't you ask before? You could have asked me that. So in 1874, according to the Gregorian calendar, on the 5th of February, which also happened to be Phalgun Krishna Panchami, a son was born to Bhagavati Devi, the wife of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his 7th child. And the child was perfectly all right. But what was interesting is, as you can look in this picture that we have put up on the screen, you can see that he just has an upper cloth that flows down his right shoulder. From his left shoulder down, so his right shoulder is exposed. Or is it his left here? It is his left, so he's sannyasi here. So his left shoulder is exposed, and you can see a white thread. That is the Upavita. Nowadays we know it as the Brahmanical thread. And because we call it the Brahmanical thread, we think that, oh, that means I'm a Brahmana. In Sanskrit, it is called Upavita. Upavita means now I'm supposed to be learned. Now I have to accept knowledge. Vit comes from Vita Dhatu, which means to know, to understand. Upa means close, under. So, a sacred thread, which is in today's times called as a Brahmanical thread. Srila Prabhupada once was giving a lecture in one of his temples. Krishna bless him. I did not want to say God bless him. Just that. The Vedantists say like that. Krishna bless him. This mic would constantly fall like that. It would go down. The stand kind of bolt here, the nut here was not. No, this is fine. Srila Prabhupada's times. So it was like he would be speaking and this would go down. So one of his disciples, you know how in America you are always, in India no one would do that even today, because somehow or the other they are very demure people. But in America you are quite bold. So one of his students, I guess, came up to kind of hold this mic up, do something about it, the mic stand. So he had his Brahmin thread, the Upavita. So Srila Prabhupada asked him, take off your thread. So he gave him the thread, and then Srila Prabhupada tied it here. He fixed that mic stand. And the devotee later on said, that was the perfection of my Brahmin thread. Served Srila Prabhupada. So the Brahmin thread is called the Upavita, which basically means one must try and receive knowledge. That is why, that is what the thread indicates. So if somebody has the secret thread on him and is not being knowledgeable or is acting in ways that is against what a learned person does, then people point out. They say, you are wearing a sacred thread and you are acting like an ignoble person. Ignominable person. You are acting like an ignorant person. In today's times, the Brahmin thread is considered to be a status symbol on Facebook. I have a Brahmin thread. 20,000 likes. It's not supposed to be like that. So his thread, this is a picture, a painting of his. This is not an original picture. It is not a photo of BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakura. It has been stated in the biographies or in when people recounted their experience with him, it has been stated that he had this natural kind of mark on him. His body was dark golden in color. And this would be a faint line going all the way down from his shoulder to his torso. And he was born with this impression on his body. As if he was born, his umbilical cord was around his body as if it was a natural secret thread. And not just the umbilical cord, but the impression was also there on his body. So we accept it as he was a born Brahmana. However, by birth, he is born in a Kayastha family. So Krishna kind of put his mark on him. He marked him out. So 1874. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is really very happy. 6 months down the line. This is February. So 6 months down the line would be what? Any guesses? What month? Yeah. So about 6 months down the line, let's say 5 to 6 months, is the season of Rath Yatra. Correct? Late June, early July or mid-July. Hundreds upon thousands of people had come to pull Lord Jagannath's Ratha cart. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur was such an influential person. He was so, let us say, highly placed in the government. However, for his personal needs, he only lived by what was provided by the government. Therefore, he did not even have his own house. He was living in a rented home, a rented place. Today, if you go to the place of BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakur's birth, his birthplace, today there is a temple there, the Gaudiya Math. The Chaitanya Math is there. But when he was born, it was still a rented place. That speaks to the character of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So when the Rath cart came in front of this house where Bhaktivinoda Thakur lived, being the deputy magistrate of Jagannath Puri, he was also the superintendent of Jagannath's temple. So wanting to please him, they made the Ratha cart stop in front of his house. So Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he offered he considered himself to be unqualified. So he offered his obeisances to Lord Jagannath. And after it was done, this is so many years ago, so society was quite rigid even in those times. I mean, specifically in those times. Today, everyone can go and pull Lord Jagannath's cart. Men and women alike, children too, old people too. In those days, ladies would not feel so much encouraged to come forth in public. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur had offered his respects to Lord Jagannath, and now they wanted to pull the Rath. The Rath would not move, the cart would not move. So everyone was a little anxious. Now if you ever been in a situation like that, for those of you who've been in a situation like that where the Ratha cart has stopped, it's not moving, and you are there, please raise up your hands. Oh, it's just me. There's one Mataji too. Oh, yes, a couple of hands. After 20 to 25 minutes, you just accept it as Jagannath's desire, and you kind of leave the place, you start milling around. That's what people do. Like they start looking at the shops that are there and whatever is being sold out. They kind of start speaking about their village affairs or politics, things like that. So everyone was kind of doing their own thing. So that was a time when there was not so much pressure. People were doing their own things. Bhagavati Devi, she took that opportunity. She felt that this is more comfortable for her, right? That the time is more comfortable for her. So she took the opportunity to climb onto the cart, and because she is the superintendent's wife, they welcomed her. And she brought along with her this young child, her son, her 7th child. And she placed the child at Lord Jagannath's feet. She just put the child there. It's normal to do that. And the child is like 5 to 6 months old. So the child kind of waved his hand like that to Lord Jagannath. The child is looking at Lord Jagannath. And he's on his back. And Bhagavati Devi is offering her prayers. You have to be a mother to know that, and especially you have to be a mother in India to know that that is quite common. You kind of put the child at the Lord's feet and you pray. And the child goes like that, hands and feet moving. So as the child was waving its hands, a garland from Lord Jagannath's neck broke and fell upon the child. Bhaktivinoda Thakur made a note of it. He said, "The Lord has answered my prayers. This is the person that I prayed for unto Lord Jagannath." So immediately his heart soared. Can you imagine the expectations that he must be having of this child? The child is just 6 months old. He's like, yes, this is a ray of Vishnu. He was really very happy and excited. So he put a lot of efforts in training up the child, and his training showed. At the age of 5, the child was such a prodigy that Thakur Bhaktivinoda was wondering, should I give him, enroll him in the advanced program or the IB program? He's got so much thirst for knowledge. And very interestingly, the child would never forget whatever it had learned. Later on, in his youthful days, because of his, and even till his disappearance, it was noted that he would always remember whatever he had studied once, read once, memorized once. And he would only do it once. He would only memorize a particular passage or a book once or go through it once. And he could repeat it verbatim. Hence he is called the living encyclopedia. By all his peers, he was called the living encyclopedia. If he had been today, we would have called him the living Wikipedia. Maybe we would have started a new, what is it called as? Platform called the Bhaktipedia or something like that. Siddhantapedia. Just to glorify him. Maybe we should do that. So seeing his immense capacity to retain knowledge, Bhaktivinoda Thakur felt that he's just, the capacity that he has of retention is just like Mother Earth. She has the capacity of supporting and nourishing so many people. So I should give him a deity to worship. So at the age of 5, it is said that he got his first deity to worship of Kurmadev. Now, according to certain practitioners of Jyotish, if you want your child to be focused on studies, knowledge, then you should ask the child to worship Kurmadev. Now, when the child becomes a little knowledgeable and grows up, then the child, to express that knowledge intelligently, can worship Hayagriva. But let us just worship Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everything would be in its proper place just by worshipping Krishna. However, these are the personal attributes of Krishna's expansions. He was so happy to begin worshipping the deity. A couple of years later, when he was 7, do we teach our children here? Sorry, I'm digressing a little, but do we teach our children the Bhagavad Gita verses? Do we teach them and help them to memorize it here? We do that, right? It's a status thing, isn't it? My child goes to and knows so many shlokas. You know, whenever I kind of visit someone and they have a little child, they go, please, in front of Prabhuji. And I want to tell them, I myself have forgotten many verses that I had memorized. How many children have gone beyond, or how many adults have gone beyond 12th, 15th, 9th chapter, and maybe the 2nd chapter? Not so easy. 3rd and 4th chapters, who has it memorized? At least maybe once they have attempted to memorize it. The 3rd and the 4th chapter, not some 12th. Obviously, it is the entire chapter we are speaking of, right? 3rd and 4th chapter, they are the Shudra chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. At least that is how we treat them. 3rd and 4th chapter, the last. The 16th, the 8th chapter. At the age of 7, he had all the 18 chapters memorized. So much so that he would sit down and give discourses on it. By the time he was 10, he had a huge fan following, like Facebook. He had to create his own page. Profile wasn't working anymore. He had more than 5,000 followers. Famous in Kolkata. But social media wasn't so popular. There was no internet, so couldn't go beyond. But in Kolkata, this was, everyone was speaking of this prodigy, child prodigy. So his father, seeing his qualities, he was, because Lord Jagannath, just going back a little, he had prayed to Lord Jagannath. So Lord Jagannath, he said, please send me a son. After that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was advised by Lord Jagannath that, why don't you ask the internal potency? In Jagannath Puri, the internal potency is Vimala Devi. She is the person expansion of Yoga Maya, so why don't you pray unto her? So he prayed unto her. So when the child was born, he accepted it as the blessings of Lord Jagannath and the special mercy of Bimala Devi. So he named the child Bimala Prasad, or one who was received by the mercy of Bimala Devi, who's Yoga Maya, the Lord's internal potency. So now Bimala Prasad, when he exhibited such being so learned and erudite, such scholarship, he said that Mother Saraswati is just, She is bestowing her mercy on you. So you should be called Saraswati. I will call you Saraswati from nowadays. My name is Rohinipriya Das. In India, Rohini is generally given, the name is given to a girl, and so is Priya. I've lived my entire life trying to make people understand who have not seen me physically that I am an authentic and bona fide male. That is my gender. Now, Bimala is also technically generally the name given to a girl child in India, and Saraswati too. I'm so happy that I can relate my name to how BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakura Maharaj was called. So Bimala Prasad is now Saraswati. And many a times there are letters written in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's own hand where he's addressing his son as Saraswati. Saraswati, this is what we should do now. By the age of 13, by then, he had been put, on the advice of friends and family members, Bhaktivinoda Thakur enrolled him into a school. It was a seminary school, a Montessori. And he was, in a year and a half, he was completely done with them. He's like, there's nothing more that I can learn from them. So I need to learn more. So they sent him to a Sanskrit school, which generally would be at a higher age. But he was sent to a Sanskrit school, and within 4 years he was so good in Sanskrit. Specifically, he was so good at astrology and astronomy, Jyotish, that he wrote his own commentary on the Surya Siddhanta, and no one had done that for at least 20 centuries. This was the first time somebody had attempted to write a commentary. I'm just exaggerating a bit because I have no idea how many centuries no one had written a commentary on the Surya Siddhanta. No one dare attempt that, because first of all they had to understand astronomy. And it's not very easy. You did not have apps to help you do that. And then to write a commentary on it. And his commentary was so good, so helpful, that the college accepted it as the textbook that they would refer to. 13 years. I mean, he was having the best time of his life. He was learned. His book had been accepted by the college, basically the university. I mean, he was earning. He could have earned millions, And that was when he was still in his pre-teens, a tween. So everyone here on the West Coast that in the late teens became millionaires, in their Hall of Fame, they can put up even his picture. But he never copyrighted his works. Therefore, he did not receive his royalty. So just remained as the son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Now, when his career was at its peak, he was invited by the king of Tripura to come and be the personal tutor for the princes, his sons. And he gave him a huge salary. And due to certain reasons, when he had to come back, the king of Tripura left his body. His son, who became the king, invited him back, and he told him that, please come for some time and teach my sons, and I will give you a dedicated pension for your entire life. And he was still, he had a dedicated pension to himself when he was in his teens. And then he met the Vaishnavas. His father had established a Vaishnava society. Vishwa Vaishnava Rajya Sabha. There used to be a Bhadralok society in Kolkata, in West Bengal. Bhadralok means the society of the elite people. The people who could bring about auspiciousness. Basically, it was just a front for Advaita Vedantika society. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his friends like Shishir Kumar Ghosh and the Ghosh brothers, they wanted a different platform. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he established the Vishwa Vaishnava Rajya Sabha, a society for Vaishnavas, the Royal Society for Vaishnavas. And when he associated with the people who'd come there, he was so influenced by their learning and especially their humility and dedication. He said, why am I even studying astronomy, and why am I trying to be a scholar? Have I gone crazy? This will just give me material name, fame, and prosperity. That is not what I want. What I want is what these people have. The happiness that they have in their understanding, in their faith of who Krishna is. So he walked up to his father and he said, I'm discontinuing college. His book was about to be printed. He gave that manuscript to someone else. He said, you print it, and if you want, you can do whatever you want to do with it. And he took sannyas at that young age. He took sannyas from astrology forever. He said, I will never ever touch this book because it is so addictive. Astrology to BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakura was like WhatsApp is to us today. He said, this is too addictive. This social media is too addictive. And he renounced it totally. Then his father, he said that if you want to really understand and realize and feel the presence of Krishna, that is not possible without taking shelter of a spiritual master. So he said, so give me initiation. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur had already initiated him into chanting the holy names at the age of 7. So he was already chanting Hare Krishna. And he never gave up chanting Hare Krishna. He had his beads and he would chant on that. But he said, you must receive, I am your father. You have to take shelter of a guru. So please guide me to a guru. He said, take shelter of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And that's a long story. Somehow or the other, Babaji Maharaj was convinced to accept, according to certain biographies, he was just one of the 2 disciples, and sometimes it is said that he was the only disciple of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj could not write the alphabet. He was not learned in writing. And because he had not learned the alphabet, he could not read that well. The only book that he would normally read was the Prarthana because it was written in the local dialect. He would have it, the Prarthana book of Narottam Das Thakur. So it was very revolutionary. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was so happy. He was the magistrate. He was so learned. He was an advocate. He was a bureaucrat. His son was a child prodigy. And he was happy that his son had taken initiation from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who till date has no a writing to his name. He has not written anything. BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakura Maharaj was convinced that this person can reveal Krishna to me. In fact, when they were having this conversation of him taking initiation, at one point of time, he was so insistent, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was kind of postponing that event. He wasn't really saying no, but he was saying, I have to think about it. He said, your master is a trickster, and therefore you are also a trickster. You are tricking me and you don't want me to know who is Krishna. Please, I beg you, don't trick me anymore. You serve Gauranga, Lord Gauranga is a trickster. Trickster means just as it's not very easy to have Lord Gauranga in your heart. It seems that he's there, and then when Lord Gauranga sees that the heart is not really having a favorable atmosphere for him, he leaves. And we don't even realize when he leaves our heart. So that is how we get tricked. So he said, he tricks people, and therefore you are his follower. You are also tricking me, and you're just postponing this initiation. Please don't do it. Please be merciful unto me. You are a Vaishnava. Please be compassionate. So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he initiated him. And in 1914, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he disappeared. In 1915, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji disappeared. In 1911, he got the title of Siddhanta, BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakura. Because his erudite scholarship was so amazing that the learned circles, there was a debate, and when they heard that debate, and he was all alone, there was this panel of debaters against him, and he was representing his father all alone, and he not only held up his own, he actually made them see how the perception of Bhaktivinoda Thakur is correct. And he established that all of them, they would have to accept Bhaktivinoda Thakur's version of who a Vaishnava is and how glorious a Vaishnava is. So this spread like wildfire, and the learned circles, they offered him the title Siddhanta. So now he is Siddhanta Saraswathi Thakur. Now when he took initiation from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he gave him a really interesting name. Varsha Bhanavi Devi Daita Das. I mean, for a person who is not really well read in the alphabet, that is a very intricate name. Varsha Bhanavi Devi Daita Das. Generally, if you're not really well read, you would say like, all right, Gopal Das or something like that. I'm just trying to state for me, that's such a high caliber of understanding Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. It's a tongue twister for us. The servant of Krishna who is the beloved of Radharani. So now he's got these names. So after Bhaktivinoda Thakur and BhaktiSiddhanta and Gaur Kishore Das Babaji disappeared, he felt there was a real need to establish Vaishnavism all over. And so from the late 19 what is the decade from 1911 to 1920 called? The 1910s? Like the 20s you call the 20s, the 30s you call the 30s. So the late, around 1918, 1919, he really began preaching, spreading this message vigorously until the late 20s. there was a conglomerate of so many centers all over the world. And seeing how fervent was his devotional attitude, the title of Bhakti was given to him. So now he is known as BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakura. Very famous as BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakura. Very quickly, I would like to conclude by going through certain quotes. So can we have the quotes now? Some of his quotes are really iconic. Trendsetters. No, I remember I asked you to. Where is our Sutra Mallika Prabhu? Is there? Yeah. All right, Prabhu. We'll wait for you. Can we go to just do Google search so we come up with those first 6 BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswati quotes? Just do Google search and you'll find it. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. The first one. Can we expand it? Can you increase the size, or is that all? Oh, thank you. If I could perfectly deliver even one soul back home, back to Godhead, I would think my mission, propagating Krishna consciousness, to be successful. That was his intense desire. Next. You'd have to go back again, Prabhu. Okay, you can skip that if you want. This is about a saint. This is also very interesting. If we take shelter of the lotus feet of the spiritual master, no, all right, we can do this also, the one that was about a saint. We can become free from illusion, fear, and distress. If we wholeheartedly beg for his mercy without any deceit, then the spiritual master bestows all auspiciousness upon us. Thank you. Next. There's a couple of quotes that I would like to just read. The fourth one, the one where he's with his sannyas danda, yes. Can we have that? He who serves Lord Hari counts himself as the least of all entities. He is lifted to the highest order of the Vaishnavas when he can feel himself the last of all. He can then proclaim the message of the highest devotion to Lord Hari. And one of my favorites, could we just go back to the slides? Yeah, the one where he's Chaturmas with his beard. In this world of Maya, which is averse to the Lord, full of trials and tribulations, only patience, humility, and respect for others are our friends for Hari Bhajan. Very useful tip. Patience, humility, and respect. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. It was very nice sitting here and being able to speak about BhaktiSiddhanta Saraswathi Thakura Maharaj in front of all of you. And I pray that Saraswati Thakura Maharaj blesses all of us, specifically me, that we can follow the instructions given to us by our spiritual masters, and we can serve in the mission of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. The congregational chanting of the holy names: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you. And we have a couple of minutes, so any reflections, any comments? Anybody would like to share something? All right. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki